I'm just going to be sharing with you guys how I edit my photos. And yeah, usually I'll use Lightroom, but because it's just like for teaching purposes, and I just kind of want to introduce more people about like concepts of photography, or like things that I've learned that make the photo look better. I am going to use Vsco for that purpose, and eventually, maybe later, I will start using or show you guys what I or how I edit in Lightroom. So yeah, I think I will start with this photo. And I guess to preface, like, I have Vsco X. So Vsco X is a subscription service. It's actually $20 a year, but I think it's really, really worth it because of the fact that you have all these film presets, you know. So yeah, basically we are going to start with I really like the Kodak Portrait series. Kodak Portrait. Oh, this looks nice. However, I like rarely ever use filters all the way, so I will normally put this around like 6.3. Okay, maybe 6. And the reason why I really like this filter so much is because, as you can tell in I don't know if you can tell, in like the parts of my jacket, it's a really good example of where you can see the shadows, and the shadows are kind of faded compared to the original photo, as you can tell. So I think with film, that's like a really good indication of how like film photos look like. I guess I've been doing this for a while, that I've kind of noticed what's characteristic about film photo, and that's usually the shadows are just kind of like lifted like that. And something that I would do as well is just turn down the highlights. I don't know if I'm gonna tell, if you look at the lights or the highlights of the leaves, you can tell that as I'm moving the slider, it's getting kind of darker, right? So oops, it's getting darker. So basically, let's see here, where's the highlights? So I would bring the highlights down. Maybe to like a 4. And yeah, honestly, this photo is kind of like already good in itself. It's really interesting to watch. How do I describe this? I would also, I kind of want to talk about split toning. So split toning is really important because you can affect the colors of the shadows or the highlights. For example, if I add like green, you can tell that there's a lot of green in the shadows, duh. And then you can do the same with the highlights. However, what I noticed that is characteristic of film photos, or at least specific film stocks, are the way or the colors that are in the shadows. And what I noticed, if you underexpose Kodak, if you underexpose Fuji Pro 400H, there's kind of the green. It's characteristic to have greens in the shadows. So this is actually, if you put it all the way, I think it's kind of reminiscent of like those disposable photos. So while I guess if you really want to go for that disposable look, but again, I rarely ever do it all the way, and kind of want to add maybe like 5. Yeah, that looks good. That looks really, really characteristic of like a disposable film photo. What's also I guess characteristic as well is the grain structure. Now Vsco has its own grain structure, however sometimes it gets a bit too grainy. and I'll use kind of like Lightroom as, because I believe their grain slider is a lot more characteristic, but because I'm only using Vsco at this time, I think it's important not to overdo anything when you're editing, because I feel like when you're editing in post, it's important to realize that you only want to enhance what's like already there in the photo. Trying to add things in post, you can only do so much, and I feel like when you nail your photo in like composition, I find myself that like it's just easier to edit that way, because and as you can tell, I'm not really doing much with the photo because the way I edit is, I think, minimal. I'm only, you know, adding a couple things that would enhance the photo rather than completely like change the photo in itself. And that's something that I've grown different from, because I used to completely overhaul my photos, but now my goal is to make photos look as natural as possible, but like you know, enhance the photo rather than completely change it. So yeah, I actually really like how this looks, and I might just add a bit of contrast in 0.5. And this again just comes with practice, because as you can tell, it's a little bit too faded, so I might just slide it there. Yeah, that's kind of like already good in itself. Maybe I might add a vignette. Just kind of play around with everything, but the goal is, again, to understand is to understand the way light works. And in this case, because like the lighting was overcast, I find overcast lighting is the best to shoot on. Also golden hour, but yeah, I think just the way this photo looks, it's simple, it's really nice to look at, but just to recap, sometimes I also like, it's really good to look at the temperature slider. In this case, like, you may want to make it more colder, more warm. In this case, warm kind of looks nice. Yeah, I might just do 1. 0.9. Yeah, might sharpen it a bit. I think that's a perfect, wow, that's a really nice photo. So I mean, I edited it, so anyways, I think it's just really important to realize that you never want to, you know, go overboard with your edits. You want to make as little as you can, but enough that it will bring certain things out. In this case, I really wanted to bring out the shadows. I really like the look of the shadows in film, which is what I wanted to emulate when I'm editing. And also just like the way, I think that's just what characterizes that film look, is like that special look in the shadows. So yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. I might make more in the future. This is just kind of like another experiment to see how this goes. But next thing I definitely want to touch on is probably like skin tones and stuff like that. But this is more like a brief preview introduction. Whatever. I need to go back to work. Okay, bye.